Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Metal Shop. For the next few weeks or so, I'm going to do a couple of guitars. One that came from a pawn shop, that's this one, and one that came from Goodwill. And I believe they're both were eBay purchases, less expensive guitars that I'm fixing up to sell. And this one needs a little bit of repair, and I'm going to customize it quite a bit for sale. The other one, I think I'm just going to clean up, fix up. It's got a ton of stickers on it that need to be removed and cleaned. Again, that no mod for this one. Well, maybe some mods. You know me. I can't help but do some mods. Anyway, but for this one, let's see how we can do here one-handed. Enjoy that view. What do we have in the gig bag? Funny how the pawn shops and the Goodwills all come with gig bags. I think they sell the cases separately. All right, we've got an Epiphone Les Paul looking object. Let's get this up on the workbench. And I'm not sure exactly when this was made. I don't believe this is old enough to be Korean. I think this is of Chinese manufacture. It's not a Chibson. Even if it's manufactured in China, this is a legitimate Epiphone. And I have a bunch of plans for this guitar. It came with the nut is broken here and there. Not quite sure how something like that would happen. So it needs a nut replacement. And there's a nasty gack ding on it over here that's really not going to matter for the project that I have in mind. So let's go to Skycam and we'll go about, I don't think these are real Gibson pickups. Those look chrome to me, so they're probably Epiphone pickups. It'd be nice if you had if they're real Gibson pickups, they're nickel finish. And I don't know. We'll find out together. We'll pull the pickups off. We'll de-string this thing and knock that nut off, and I'll show you what we're going to do to it. So let's go to the Skycam. All right, and I do apologize. I know my Skycam isn't perfect. It is mounted to the workbench here. So what happens when, if you really move the desk or you're pounding, the Skycam is moving and making you seasick. And we got some super duper dead strings on here. Whoa. Let's get these things whipped off pretty quick. I do love this Music Nomad string winder. I can't recommend that enough. Get yourself one of these. This is precision ball bearings. Got a big handle. There's a spot in the handle for tools if you want. The newer ones have a 10mm wrench built in. It is plastic, but you can use it to real quick tighten up your modern tuners that have a 10mm nut on the peg head. It's pretty handy. Be careful, don't use it to tighten too much, or you will very easily strip out the plastic. I just keep going here with my old one because I really like it. Stand by, please, while we shake the workbench. Squeaky chair. All right. What is that smell? I'm getting kind of a, I don't know, like a perfumey smell or something off the guitar. I wonder if it was female owned. Kind of weird. Oh, you know what? The case did smell like, it smelled like a car air freshener to me, which is, you know, better than the alternatives. I've gotten guitars with gig bags that reeked of marijuana or cigarette smoke, I think, which is worse. Well, thankfully, no luthier's not. I'm watching this guy, this repairman in Gorilla Guitar Repair. His videos are pretty good, but he calls the luthier's knot the idiot knot, and he's 100% right. Don't ever do that. There's no reason you ever need to tie your strings onto the headstock. Let's see. Okay, we don't, looks like don't have Tone Pro's stuff here. Looks like that bushing is pulling out a little bit. Not sure if I'll be able to tap that back in. let's just set this aside for now so we can have a look-see under here. And I still don't use power tools very much. I have a really nice rotary gyroscopic DeWalt screwdriver that is really handy, but I don't know. It's just ever since I was a kid, all I had was hand tools. So I still like the feel of driving a screw or pulling a screw off with, yeah, okay. So Epiphone labeled pickups, 57 neck. It says DOT neck bridge, LP neck, but it's labeled F for front pickup. That's how they do it, front and back, or B for bridge. So that's all right. Got a little bit of shielding paint in there. No neck tenon to speak of. So we'll set that aside. We'll just have a look at this one for grins. Get rid of that pick guard. That's not going to be on the guitar. We have longer. Yep, there's longer screws in the back, which is nice. Just a slightly little bit longer than the rest of them. Quality there. And labeled Just Bridge. Hotch. H-O-T-C-H. R for rear. G. I don't know what this nomenclature means. H-O-T-C-H. Hotch. G. This one made sense. 57 CH. G. Maybe it's hot. So if that's a 57 CH, this is a hot CH. So yeah, probably a little bit more of a powerful pickup here. And now look at this. These little weird little outcroppings where the router didn't get the wood and they just left it there. There's a tiny little bit of shielding paint slathered on there. Do you guys believe in the shielding paint or not? I am a believer. If I'm building a guitar for myself, I like to paint the shielding paint. I like to cover the electronics covers with the copper tape, and I like to make the shielding. We'll have a look. We'll look back there in just a second. Let's just put a couple of screws in here. I'm going to put the longer ones in so they don't get lost. Let's put a couple of screws in just so we can flip this thing over without the pickups going every which way. I am a believer in that. I think it does make a difference. Doing the shielding. And you get, your premier builders, your Sir, your Anderson, your Tylers, and they all do it. Even this Epiphone has a little bit of shielding in it. Let's just preemptively move this because it's 100%. Oh, was this? Oh, look at that. We pulled our insert right out. Not great. Not great. This one seems to be kind of falling out. B2, bridge 2. Regular Tune-O-Matic style there. Cream. And I have been in here already, just for full disclosure. But we can rediscover together what we got going on back here. There we go. All right. Full-size pots. Nice. Looks like we've got the harness. And that harness is going to the three-way switch. That's all the harness is for. Okay, the pickups are wired traditionally, I believe, to the pots. So that's what we got. And what are we going to do with this guitar? Well, let me show you. I was watching MTV the other day, and this band I've always liked, I've always been a fan of, and it's Britney Fox. And I was looking at, oh, look at the gross schmeg dust there. And I was looking at Dean Davidson's Les Paul, and he had customized it either himself or he had, you know, some groupies, some girls, etc. do it, but he glued rhinestones to the guitar. Went all the way around the edge, kind of covered the horn here in good shape with the rhinestones. It says Britney up in here, and there's a cool design. So that is what we're going to do. His is a late 70s, early 80s natural finish Les Paul. Tough to find, and they're expensive, and I wanted to make this a budget guitar for whomever I'm going to sell it on to, and this was as close as I could get, this natural finish. Nice little bit of flame here, but I think once we get the rhinestones, eBay special here, glue these rhinestones on, that's going to be a ball buster. Gluing on these, what size are these? These are SS30 30s. So they're 6.3 to 6.5 millimeters, and each one has to be super glued on individually. And I've got some specialty rubber tipped tweezers to accomplish that. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're building the Dizzy Dean Davidson rhinestone Les Paul. There's another picture of him. There's not very many pictures online, so I got a couple. This is a pretty good one, and you can really see the pattern there that he used. He was only in the band for the first couple of albums with all their hits, and then he left and formed Black Eyed Susan. But yeah, that is the master plan for this one. We'll go to time lapse, I suppose, and we will put this thing back together and get the nut replaced on this to start with. And then there's going to be some long time lapses when we're gluing the gross, nasty dust. This guitar definitely sat on hung on someone's wall somewhere where it accumulated a lot of dust. Didn't stay in that gig bag or a case or anything like that. So yeah, let's go on to the first of many time lapses. We'll start tearing this thing down. All right, cool. All right, well, that's a good stopping point. I have to say, just this looks amazing. It really does. It's like the minute I started gluing these rhinestones on, it was like, holy crap, it's that guitar. It really is really taking on that look. And I quickly learned to apply the glue to the guitar and then use the tweezers, as you saw me, to drop the rhinestones into the line of glue, versus in my head, I was going to put a dab of glue on the back of every rhinestone and then drop it on, which is, of course, ridiculous. I made things a lot harder for myself because I'm using this Gorilla super glue, which there's a lot left in there, but you really have to, I'm going to have to get in there with a drill bit or something because I'm really squeezing it to get it out. It's not very precise, and I have a lot left to do. There's some on the pickups. He put some on every knob. He filled up the horn. Like I said, it says Brittany in here, and there's little lines, little curved lines that he did kind of all over the guitar. I think he went around the poker chip here. I have to study the picks and go from there. That's driving me crazy. The back strap pin is loose and it's probably worn out. No, it tightened up. Everything I do, I grab that strap pin. The nut went in, no issues. I double, triple checked. It's the same size. It's a Gibson, or it's for a Les Paul. So a couple of dabs of super glue in there as well. Well, that's a good stopping point. You know, probably do 2 parts. There'll be another extremely long time lapse where I glue on the rest of those rhinestones. So in case you're looking to do this yourself, these are SS30, and I've studied pictures and tried to and actually counted the number of rhinestones that fit in a certain place to figure out which ones to get. But these are the ones, the 6.3 to 6.5 millimeter SS30 rhinestones. These are like Blue Midnight or something. Yeah, Blue Moonlight, which I thought was perfect, and turns out I'm right. These look perfect. This super glue that I use, that Gorilla Glue, takes forever to dry too. So if I tried to move any of these from on this bottom half, I'm sure that I could move them. So anyway, this will end part 1 of the Dizzy Dean Davidson Les Paul Bedazzled Rhinestoned Les Paul from Brittany Fox, featured in the videos for Girlschool and Long Way to Love. Also for a Gibson and a Gibson Bright Wires ad. I'll add some pictures into this video of how I want the guitar to look here with that Bright Wires ads and those pictures that I showed you, so you can take a better look at them. And like I said, this guitar got played quite a bit, actually. I didn't even notice that. We got some pretty significant fingernail divots in here, and kind of weird. We got some significant wear kind of here. Where, sorry, 5th fret down to the 3rd fret here that I didn't notice, and I'm convinced now female owned with the way the fingernails dug into this thing. I'll have to touch up those frets a little bit. But anyway, hello my friends, welcome to the Metal Shop. We're about to begin part 2 of the Dizzy Dean Davidson Brittany Fox Les Paul. Oh, we got a little of that misting that you get. It doesn't matter, from the super glue. Kind of weird. You know, that white kind of powdery mist you get there sometimes? Rubs right off with my finger. This whole area is going to get covered. So we're going to get started. I'm going to start putting these little, I guess we'll call them little stingers that he did. Little stingers. We'll get those done. Looks like we're going to go around the pickups. Yeah, he went completely, didn't do the back side. Kind of weird. He did these 3 sides. Went completely around this one. Looks like 3. It's hard to tell how many, probably however many he could fit on the tops of the volume knobs. And then we're going to fill in here. It's going to say Brit here. That's a lot. And there's random, he pretty much put random dots all over the place. Oh, and he did cover the poker chip in a circle. So, yeah, enough of my yapping. Let's get to gluing some more rhinestones on this thing. Cool. All right, well, this is a good stopping point. Pretty happy overall with how it came out. Kind of got a little overzealous here. I used dry erase marker to write out where it said Brit, and I kind of, like I said, I got a little overzealous thinking that I could glue the rhinestones directly over it. Worked good on the I and the R, not so much on the B. Now there's super glue holding the kind of the scribble there in place. Some spots here where I got a little haze from the super glue. It may come out, it may not, it may really not matter. I think I think there's enough on there. I think that Dean Davidson had more on his than are on this one. He may have sprinkled in some smaller ones, so on. I think it's, like I said, it's a good stopping point. I kind of got a headache probably from the super glue fumes, so we'll let this dry really good for a good long time and come back. We'll try and clean this up a little bit and see where we go from there. All right, cool. All right, one thing I did want to mention, I was smart enough to remember to remove the pickups, and I did have to pry them out because when I glued particularly those perpendicular lines, I got glue on the back of the pickup and they were glued in place. And kind of what tipped me off was, in looking at the pictures of Dean's guitar, on some of them there's absolutely a line that runs up the back of the bridge pickup, and on others there isn't. So what I think is probably likely the same thing. You can definitely see it in this one. There's a line that runs up the back. And what I think happened is the same thing happened to him is what was going to happen to me. He went to swap the bridge pickup, and when he had to rip the pickup out, he pulled off the majority of these rhinestones, and they were stuck to the pickup itself. So I did remember to remove them, and I'm going to let this dry really good with the pickups out. I've taken them in and out, and I've scraped a little bit of super glue and used some nail polish remover or acetone to clean these. And I did remember to get the rhinestones on the pickups themselves. I'm a stickler. I try and make it as close as possible to the original when I build a replica like this. It's never perfect, but I really try and get it, 90-95% of the way there. All right, so very cool. Next, we're gonna, like I said, we'll do just a little bit of cleanup once we're super dry here. We'll clean. Don't let me forget. Please remind me. I'm gonna clean that fretboard and polish those frets before I string it up. All right, cool. All right, good point to interject here just a little bit. You saw me clean and polish the frets. First I cleaned the fretboard. Maybe I did that off camera, I don't remember. I just use a hot soap diluted into hot water solution and a toothbrush and a rag and clean the fretboard. Then polish the frets, and I use Never Dull by hand, the magic wadding polish, and then hit them with the Dremel and the buffing wheel there. And you can use some an aluminum polish if you want. I didn't this time. I didn't really feel it was necessary. I treated the fretboard with I like the Dunlop lemon oil. It just works great. And my method is different than others, I guess, and there's really no right or wrong to this. Some people like to apply it and then wipe it right off. I apply it and I'll let it sit on overnight even. And if it soaks all in, great. Then I'll apply another coat, and whatever soaks in, soaks in. Usually it only takes 2. If it doesn't soak in, you know, you'll buff it off and you're good to go. I see these guys using this feed and wax furniture polish. Nothing wrong with that. I'd probably use it myself, but I watched a guy dump like just a ton of it on there. And there's not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just a waste. The fretboard is going to soak up so little. You're just wiping it off and you're throwing it away. You know, there that brown polish there. I can't think of the name of it. When I'll look it up and I'll insert it. I can't remember what that stuff is. I watch guys cake that stuff on like peanut butter, and then it's just a waste. You're just wiping it off and then throwing it away. So that's my method. This guitar was well loved. There's a bunch of fingernail scoring in here, and the frets, you pick it up. This is just, I don't know, it feels like a nice guitar, and someone played the crap out of it, so good guitars get played a lot. I did kiss the frets where they were some denting in here, and this is just a cheap Amazon file, like, I don't know, maybe it was $20, but it's a nice heavy forged piece, really sharp. It did the trick there. You saw that in the time lapse. So all we're going to do at this point, all we have left is I'm going to let this soak in a little bit longer. I'm going to polish it. We're going to string it up. I will give you the very quickest of demonstrations, and I think that this guitar is headed straight to reverb for sale. I picked up a really nice Brittany Fox Dizzy Dean Davidson stage used pick that I'm going to include with this. I also have a picture of Dean playing this guitar. I'll include a framed picture with it, and hopefully I'll have that stuff to show you when I complete the video. All right, so let's get this thing wrapped up. Cool. All right, well, time to wrap this up. As you can probably hear, we got some hiss in the background. Got my little GK 250 ML right over there. Got the guitar all strung up. We're going to just give it just a real quick run through there and see how she sounds. All right, well, you get the idea. Hopefully without a copyright strike. Anyways, so this guitar, you're not going to really want to rest your arm there, unless you got a long shirt or something. It's kind of uncomfortable, but it's definitely got the look. I'm pretty happy overall with how this came out. I did get the pick that I showed you the picture, but there is the pick. Stage used picks. It's tough to see on the backside. Sorry, I'm not going to peel this out. Came in this nifty little display package here, but it says Brittany Fox in the calligraphy on one side, and it says Dizzy Dean on the other. Yeah, that thus ends the Pawnshop project, building Dizzy Dean's rhinestoned guitar from the Girlschool video. As always, my friends, truly do appreciate your support. You're new to the channel, click subscribe, hit the bell, get those notifications. Give me that thumbs up. Really helps the algorithm to recommend my videos. And please hit me up in the comments. Respond to all of my comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this guitar. A rock replica, that's what I call them, that you'd like to see me build. Hit me up in the comments, and maybe I will build it. All right, my friends, take care. Truly appreciate your support. Let's rock on. Dizzy Dean Davidson, Brittany Fox, Girlschool guitar. Cool.